Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 404 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined as always and forever, and today, and especially right now, by my mainest man, coming at us from Easton, PA, white collar, minus the collar, Willie Saylor. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good. To my left.
We got schedules. Oh, yeah. Do the introductions.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we go. Sometimes I do intros. You never know. I actually have some funny intros, so I want to say them.
Okay.
To my left,
funny stuff.
Sheriff of Nottingham, Daniel Roy Lobdell Jr. I look over. We're about to go live. He's looking up Archery World Cup stuff. He says it's World Cup for archery. You can't make this up.
14th annual. It's a big one.
I'm for a long time, I worry we're gonna lose Nomad to, some other media entity. He's a hot commodity in wrestling. I'm not prepared for him to get scooped up by big archery.
The thing you have to really fear is that Nomad starts Flow Bow.
Flow Bow staff. Mm-hmm. And then across the way, we're all someone's daughter. He's someone's son. Mr. John Farnham himself, a.k.a. Stephen Kyle Brackey. He cannot stop listening to You're the Voice. And the thing about Kyle Brackey is when he gets a song in his head, he will sing it and listen to it. He gets a week straight, and he won't be able to break it. So really, more than anything, we should be feeling sorry for Olivia right now because she's just listening to John Farnham. That baby is going to come out singing You're the Voice, which there are worse songs to come out singing.
Yeah, that's a great one to come out to.
It honestly is.
I do wear them out, though, when I get into a song.
He wears them out. Okay. Lots of different places to start. But one thing I felt like maybe from Monday, Labor Day, a lead we may have buried on yesterday's show was that Yanni, it's kind of a weird thing, like a weird source or whatever, but Yanni just kind of dropping, and this is not the first time I'd heard it, but him saying it kind of giving a little more mainstream thought to, he's wearing the Besic Kadukov shirt. Little backdrop, Besic was, for a while there, and it's interesting because he never won the Olympics, but he was a world champion. But for a while there, he was the pound-for-pound number one guy, kind of before Jordan. He was the dude that was like, this is the best wrestler on the planet right now. Misdirection stuff. He was sick. He had a really sick style. He tragically died in a car crash, which we say it was. You can't really say it's mysterious. Automobile deaths are a very common thing in the world, in America and in Russia. So I don't know if to call it mysterious, but it was tragic. Certainly, he dies, and then a little bit later, in 2016, it comes out that he retroactively had failed a drug test for the 2012 Olympic Games. So then Yanni says basically that he was kind of snuffed out because he was going to blow the whistle on the Russian doping thing, which ultimately was unearthed in various ways, but including the Icarus documentary and whatnot. So I don't really know what there is to talk about other than, holy cow, he said that. That's not the first time I'd heard it, and kind of it's a huge story if true. If nothing else, it's worth discussing.
Yeah, how good was Kudakov? He was my favorite for a while. Had some iconic moments, but yeah. Yanni, I don't know how plugged in Yanni is to that community, but he certainly is a little bit, right? And
for sure.
So he heard that rumor, and how tight it is, I don't know. Now, as soon as we heard that Kudakov died in a car crash, we were all dubious of it. Because like a year or two before, one of their top officials or a former top official, like they said he fell off a mountain, right? Who was that, Nomad?
Fedzaev?
Somebody. So there was, in proximity to Kudakov's death, there was another Russian wrestling. I think he used to be. I should look it up. But there was a significant man in their Russian wrestling organization also fell off a cliff.
I think it might have been Adlan Varayev. Yeah, it was Varayev.
Now, what was his?
And what
role?
was his?
I don't remember what he specifically was in the Russian wrestling. He was vice president. That's what it was.
There you go. Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, for now, this is not deniable that Russia snuffs out people that are a nuisance to them. Like the government at large does that to people. It kills people. It kills journalists. They do this kind of thing. Now, does it go to wrestling? Is the question? And is it the government? Is it just other people within Russia? We don't know who would stand to be the ones to gain from the deaths of these two, right? But it's one thing if someone dies in America, but like when it's that part of the country, when it's that country, and people wonder why I don't freaking like Russia. They do things like this. Now, I'm not saying they did this, but they do things like this to people in their country, right? It's not an uncommon thing. That's not another reason I don't want them to win. Anywho, I don't know what to say beyond that other than it was really interesting to hear Yanni kind of candidly bring that up.
It's something I've talked about with Yanni before.
Yeah.
Like, because, like Willie said, Bessick was one of my favorites. He won. He never got his Olympic gold, but he won 3 straight and was one of the first instances I can remember of Russia saying a guy doesn't have to wrestle in Russian nationals to make the team, which is obviously a big deal for them because you're a proven competitor.
Yeah.
But it was just odd, the circumstances. And like Christian said, accidents happen all the time. But a guy who was on the downside of his career, who and the thing with all the stuff that happened with Russia, I think it was a lot more from the top down. I really don't think necessarily the athletes wanted to do those things, or at least not to the degree that they were forced to. And so I think that was part of Bessick's thing, where it's like, we don't want to do this anymore. We want to just
train and
wrestle. And
well, I think too. No, but to that point, I mean, look at the quotes that Boltakayev made. They pushed pills in my mouth 10 minutes before I'm supposed to go on the mat.
Yeah.
He didn't even know what he was taking.
Yeah, and then he felt like he was in a trance or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, in my opinion, the greatest video in FloWrestling is Kudikov's back hook winning 2010 Worlds in Moscow.
It's the best. Joe nails the call. Joe Flo.
It was from the clinch, right?
Yeah, it's the only cool ball draw ever. It's the most like. So just to set the tone, I'll tweet it out later, or someone will. Bessick's he's getting his leg attacked on the ball draw, right? So basically he's screwed. This is for a world title. He kicks out crazily, then ends up exposing his opponent in a really crazy way.
It's like a back trip or something.
Yeah, he kind of like steps between, and it's really, it's a absolutely
the whole series. Kick out, gets in on the shot, back hooks, they fall, he comes up.
And he's like so jacked. It was great. So yeah, R.I.P. to
Crowd
Bessick.
was crazy.
Yes, literally in Moscow. So that was so cool. And yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to mention that. Someone asked a FRL question about it, and I thought, yeah, we probably should have mentioned that because in all the Yanni Zayn stuff, we forgot that Yanni brought that up as well.
That's a huge part of why I love freestyle.
Really?
Yeah. I was like,
he was one of the only exciting ball draw guys.
I was like, this looks like how wrestling's supposed to be.
Yeah, he was different, man.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a favorite of many people. Okay. Next up, where do we want to go? Man, we had our Q4 planning. We talk about quarters here. We are very, very sophisticated business here at Flow Sports.
Hey,
we talk about quarters. If you want to know which month falls in which quarter, I know them. I have it basically memorized at this point.
All 12 of them?
All 12. You give me a month, I'll tell you which Q it's in. See, that's another industry. That's Q4. Another interesting thing. You don't even say quarter 4. You say Q4. And in the industry, people just know what that means. So, yes, we are very fancy. But we had a Q4 brainstorm. We were looking at schedules and stuff. And Iowa's – and I know we've discussed Iowa's schedule, but we didn't know, like, when stuff was falling. We may have to move to the greater Coralville area. We've discussed this. Maybe getting an Airbnb just for a couple months. Maybe we'll see if there's a dorm situation. I am not above staying in dormitories. I have in Fargo. I'm sure the accommodations at the University of Iowa are just fine. I think we go to Iowa because in 1 week they wrestle Ohio State, and then the next week Penn State. I mean, the rent pays for itself right then and there. So I am super excited for the Iowa home schedule. I hope to get to a duel or so. I've already told Caleb I'm taking him to the Penn State duel, so I feel a little pot committed there. So I think I'm going to Iowa Penn State. But beyond that, I'm just excited to watch these matches.
Last year, I think maybe for a year or two, bless you, Nomad. I think for a year or two, Iowa's home schedule wasn't too hot, right?
Last year was so bad.
Last year was bad. This year, all the heat. They have Nebraska, Ohio State, Penn State, Minnesota, and they end with Okie State. So, an awesome. I mean, if you're in Iowa, you're probably buying season tickets.
Nomad already got them all.
He got them all.
All of them.
So, interesting home schedule for them. And to top it off, I mean, they open with Wisconsin at home. So maybe Seth Groves coming back to Carver Hawkeye. Is he going to have DeSanto? He's going to have Gavin? I mean,
I don't know which match excites me more.
I know.
I don't even know. I mean, on the one hand, Seth is maybe it's indulging those matches is disrespectful to Seth because of what he's been able to prove, especially Gavin, who's just in his infancy as a D1 wrestler. He hasn't wrestled a D1 match, I don't believe. He never wrestled one for Penn State. So maybe it's a little audacious to even, but I can't tell you that I'm not super excited to see what would happen.
Must watch.
I mean, Gavin is outstanding. Gavin's an all-world guy, and plus the Iowa dynamic, right? This was 2 schools ago now, but he was an Iowa Hawkeye. So the fact that he could come back to Carver and wrestle against Iowa, potentially against DeSanto or Gavin, is really, really exciting stuff.
How many national champs have transferred?
Ever?
Yeah, I mean, not ever, but at least like recently.
Mako won a national title and then left.
Won a national title and left?
Yeah, one national title and left. So off the top of my head, Mako Gross
Donahoe, yeah. There's not many. There have been people who transferred and then went on to win national titles. Sure. Soriano and Metcalf and Borschel and others.
Yeah. I don't know why I just saw that. And obviously he didn't win one at Iowa. Just that thought kind of popped in my head. The other thing about that Wisconsin duel, it is over a month earlier than every other Big Ten duel as the schedule currently stands.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I find that interesting.
Wisconsin almost won that duel didn't they? That was a really close duel. Am I misremembering?
No, I don't believe they almost won, but it was very contentious. You had
maybe it's because of the Hilger Stoll thing.
Yeah, so it was the Hilger Stoll thing because I was there. It was
They did not almost win that duel.
Right.
Did they get destroyed?
35-2.
To 2?
Yeah, they lost the team.
My memory is so bad.
Now there were some matches that were close.
That Eli Stickley? Was that Eli Stickley night or something?
Yes, it was.
Yes, and so after Marinelli beat Wick in what was a crazy match.
That was an awesome match.
He went over and they had the
Eli
on the mat, and he smacked it, and it was like one of the more powerful moments I've ever seen live in wrestling.
Man. Well, holy cow, 35-2. That is a...
And then I'm pretty sure Moran and Murin had a really good one.
I'm guessing Murin won.
Well, yeah.
The only match they won was...
Murin didn't wrestle. Vince Turk wrestled.
Vince Turk wrestled.
Vince
Which
Turk
one am I
won?
thinking of?
Yeah, he got a major.
Against Moran?
No, he wrestled Michael Cullen.
Okay.
Pat Lugo won in overtime over Cole Martin.
Oh yeah, that was a horrible match.
Cash Wilkie beat Mason Reinhart 5-4. Hillgrover stole 1-0. Other than that, blowout.
If you win 1-0, I know that's not why they got 2 points. I think if you win 1-0, it's a 2-point decision. That's my new. Rule.
They took team points away from both of them. That's BS.
Yeah.
They should not have. Stoll should have been the only one that got a team point taken away.
You also shouldn't take away team points.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Do away with that stupid rule.
It is a crazy thing.
Breck and I had this discussion. I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second.
Oh, boy.
Guys, you can't take away team points in sports. It's the dumbest rule that exists in all of wrestling.
Well, what are they
You
going to do?
either throw people out.
That's an elite competition, too.
You either throw people out
25-yard line
or not. Like, you should either eject coaches and athletes or you just deal with it. You can't take away team points. If it's important enough to potentially alter the course of the match, which obviously they were down by 30 when this happened, so it clearly didn't. But if you can alter the course of a duel, or you can alter the course of a tournament, and you can alter the course of a coach getting a coach's payday, right? Like, what was it, 2017, where Iowa didn't win because they lost a team point? Or not win, didn't get a team trophy? It was 82-81, I believe.
Yeah, because they didn't call
the Brooks Abinator.
Yeah.
It should have been a pin, and it goes from supposed to be a pin to Iowa losing a team point because the ref was really bad.
That was, 2016 NCAAs was so wild.
Or 2016, yeah.
Or 16, what did I say? 17?
I don't know when it was, but the point is...
Could have been any year.
Whatever one New York was.
It was 16.
The point is to have a mechanism in place to remove points is the most god-awful thing in wrestling, and I will not stand for it.
Even doping. Nope, taking team points.
Also,
I'm cool with doping.
Facebook alerted us to 2 more guys that won national titles and then transferred. Jason Surtis, who was just here.
Oh, yeah.
Good point.
Right.
And Andrew Howe.
Facts. Thank you, Facebook. Was that Zuckerberg?
Good job, Facebook.
He is so fired up. He cannot wait for the D1 season. He's got to be a little concerned. He's got to be excited just Johnny DeJulius joined the Harvard staff. Zuckerberg's got to be totally pumped about that.
He's also teaching math there.
Johnny? Johnny DeJulius, stop jumping off bridges.
Nah, Johnny.
No.
He's not going to stop.
He's base jumping or whatever it's called. He's not harnessed in. He's just jumping off with a LL Bean backpack filled with a parachute and hoping it opens. I get doing it once. Yeah, okay, you experience this thrill. But just to routinely just invite death. Johnny, you're brave. It's proven. You've experienced that rush, but at this point you're just playing with probabilities that are not on your side. And there is no if it goes wrong, you are either dead or your life will suck until you are dead.
Yeah. But that's Johnny, man. That's Johnny. It's what he does.
I know it's what he does. I'm trying to talk him out of it.
Yeah, I hate it.
I hate it so much.
He hung. What? Didn't he hang from a skyscraper with one hand? He needs to stop doing that.
It was like a cell phone tower, and he was just hanging with one hand for the
tremendous grip strength.
Congrats on the grip strength, banana hands. Stop it,
man.
I'm sick of it, Johnny.
Other interesting tidbits. Penn State's home schedule sort of is not great at all. They're at Lehigh. They have Ohio State at home, but that's about it.
They do have the Olympic trials.
Yes, they're going to train. They're going to
peak for that. They peaked their home schedule for the Olympic trials.
That's right. Well, actually, it's not right because they don't have a good home schedule. UNI does have a good home schedule, though. Nebraska, Missouri, Okie State, Iowa State. Okie State starts the season at Lehigh, ends the season at Iowa. So pretty interesting slate there. But, again, I know it's not breaking news here, guys, but, man, the wrestling season is right around the corner, and these schedules come out late. Does anybody name another sport where the schedule comes out this late?
Archery.
I learned something about Penn State's schedule.
What'd you learn?
Apparently, it has to be approved by the faculty senate, which
Senate's involved?
I don't have a problem with. Like, okay,
Congressional oversight.
but
What?
why does the faculty senate need to approve your wrestling schedule? What am I missing something there?
So the Big Ten comes. The Big Ten says, "Okay, Penn State, here's your schedule this year," and then the physics professor has to be like, "Yeah, I sign off on it."
Right? I need a better explanation because that flabbergasted me when I read that.
I can see the
Who told you?
sociology department head being like, "Now, didn't we do I thought we were going to do a home and home with Buffalo. Is that not still happening?
Did we not honor that contract?
Are we not honoring that? I thought we had to go to Buffalo at some point, or they just can continue to routinely come here for the beatings." Okay.
I do like that Penn State. So it was, Penn State didn't announce it. Penn announced it that they're doing a home and home over the next 2 years. And last year, Penn State announced they're doing home and home with Arizona State. So I like that Penn State is pulling us into the football world where we know a little bit in advance that things are going to happen, as opposed to just we get to August and it's like, yeah, I guess teams are wrestling each other. Maybe. Who knows?
Arizona State, Penn State is going to be a fun match. There's a fly. It attacked me earlier too. It's over there. Keep your eye on it, buddy. I'm sorry.
Sorry for everyone watching, but that thing.
Stay woke. Maybe it's an alien drone.
Maybe.
No, I think it was just a flying insect. Arizona State, Penn State's actually a really interesting duel. Penn State will probably kick their necks in again, but hey, who's gonna be Penn State's 25? Or is it Schnupp?
Well, I mean,
Or is
Schnupp and then supposedly Teskey.
Oh yeah, Teskey. I had him at 33 for some reason because we.
Matty
kept talking about how
Parker
big he is.
allegedly is there as well.
No,
No, he's not.
no.
That's-
Matty
We
Parker
went over this
quit
the other
last-
day.
I know, but is that official?
Is that official?
I'm pretty sure
told he
he's not
quit
on the
wrestling.
roster.
He
Well,
told
they
you
haven't
he quit.
updated. They haven't updated the roster though for 1920.
Wasn't he supposed to be there last year?
He quit.
Yeah.
All right, so no Matty Parker.
Dang. All right, so the Parkers are no more in wrestling, D1 at least. No more Parkers. Okay.
UNI closes at Wisconsin. That'll be fun. I like that last weekend is now.
Two low energy coaching staffs. There.
Yeah, right. I like that last weekend is now open and teams can kind of.
I'm dead serious.
Do whatever they want.
Bono and Schwab should go takedowns before our intermission. That would be epic. If they did that,
They had to have wrestled before, right?
I'm sure they did. I think they
Bono's
almost
a little older.
Hold on. This could be not right, but I am pretty sure at the Real Pro Wrestling thing, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I think they almost got in a fight.
They 100% have wrestled at least 3 times.
I think they almost got in a fight. I don't know if it was them. It was either someone with Schwab or someone with Bono, but they almost got in a fight. We'll have to look this up. If one of you guys are listening,
I'm on it.
all right.
I'd like to see fisticuffs between. Bono and Schwab.
Roper normally listens, so maybe let me know, Lee, if I'm completely misremembering the near fisticuffs. Okay. All right. Next thing.
David Bray says, I was on the faculty senate in Wyoming, and that is not a group you want involved with athletic schedules.
Oh my gosh.
That just. I could not wrap my head around that. I
Yeah.
really need somebody from Penn State's faculty senate explain to me the reasoning. Explain to me who's on
Listen-
this faculty senate.
Listen, here's the thing though. There's no. It's not like. It's just a rubber stamp.
I was gonna say right. That's
It's not like. You think
I know, but it's right. It got to be a rubber stamp, but it's also just an abundant waste of time. Well, I mean, what is
Penn
somebody
State
to
is-
say? Like they're gonna have the physics professor go, listen, 2 away duels in a row. I need Chenzo here. He's gonna
Yeah.
miss his assignment.
Yeah.
They
It's just.
definitely wrestled at Real Pro Wrestling and Schwab won, but can't find video.
Oh, dang it.
Just pictures.
I've seen it. Darn it. All right, we'll figure this out. This will be a long tease because it'll probably be till Tuesday before we get the update. We'll get you the Schwab Bono, who they fought at Real Pro Wrestling, which was a real thing. Look it up. All right, let's go 141 Tears for Fears. Because this is a zany weight. It's so zany.
And I'm going to make people angry at me.
He's already committed to making people angry.
Snap! Look at this tier 1.
Look at this tier 1. The preseason number 1 young man is going to be Dom Demas.
Demonic.
It blew
Holy
my mind
crap.
in that Q4 planning meeting.
Yeah, another Q4 planning meeting reference. I said that in the meeting, and Bracky couldn't believe it, but it's happening. I think about Dom Demas. As you think about guys, he was one. I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen with him in college, but I thought he could be. I thought he could be good, or I thought it could go bad. The idea that he would be 4th as a freshman and the preseason number 1 going into his sophomore year did not enter my mind. I was like,
Nope.
I was like, this style, just because anytime you see a style that you don't see at the D1 level, it's hard for you to envision it working.
Yeah.
His style
He's
is throwing people on their backs.
Right.
That is just not sustainable, except for him. No one else does this.
And then like fake duck to inside trip.
Yeah, he just
Ain't
does.
nobody doing that.
He just does all this craziness, but he's so amazing at it, and he's so hard to take down. He's just got some. He is just special. So he's the preseason number 1, and Oklahoma starting to, they're getting it going. I don't know. Is he the favorite? It's Dom Demas. Guys, are we entering a world where Dom Demas is the favorite to win NCAAs? I'm not talking about the rankings. I'm talking about, is he the favorite to win NCAAs?
He beat Nick Lee.
Kind of not super close, right?
That was at NCAAs too, which that's another thing that I'm gonna get into once we start hitting some of these guys is
13-9
regular season wins versus NCAA wins. But Nick Lee, who Yanni gone, Ironman gone, McKenna gone. Yanni and Ironman will obviously come back at some point, but not this year.
Not this year. Good. This is a very good opportunity for Nick Lee and Dom Demas.
Yes.
I don't see another year they win NCAAs.
The Nomad's tiers. In tier 1, he has just Demas and Nick Lee.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know if I agree with you either.
I
Tell him your tier
prepared
2,
for that.
Nomad.
Tier 2, and I don't really have this in an order, but the way in which I wrote them, Caden G. Feller, Mitch McKee, Kyle Shoup, there it is, Chad Redd, Tariq the Streak Wilson, and Kanan Storr.
Tariq the Streak. I like that. Now, here's some issues. I think normally you can read the top 2 tiers and debate that. I think tier 3 has a few guys that should absolutely be in tier 2.
This is another thing that I know is going to piss people off about.
Tier 3, Grant Leith, Real Woods, Yaya Thomas, Tristan Moran, Max Murin, Sam Turner, Michael Carr. Real Woods has to be in tier 2, in my opinion. I think he is fantastic. What I saw from him at the Scuffle, that's a tier 2 guy. And I'm saying Grant Leith, too. I know
Grant
it's
Leith
like
was an All-American.
he hasn't made 141 since 2013, I think.
That's part of it for me.
That was his first of 5 freshman seasons. But it happened. He has made 141, but it was a long time ago. He was rushing the quad at Duke at this point in time.
So, I'm nothing if not consistent. Right, you look at like last year when Caleb Young dropped, I had him probably lower than what everybody else had just because I was concerned about the weight. Maybe I'm stupid, but that's something I've done pretty consistently when I've done these tiers. And then with Real Woods, with freshmen outside of, Spencer and a handful of guys, maybe Yanni, I always just bet lower on freshmen because I haven't seen them through a full season. I think Real Woods is awesome. I think he is really good on top, which is going to carry him through a lot of matches. I think in the Pac-12, he's going to have a schedule that will lead him to a really high seed at NCAAs, which I think is going to help. But
my man was 22-1 with 1 loss to Nick Lee. Mm-hmm. He's real. I did not mean to be punny there. I'm sorry. Forgive me for saying that. I think
no, for real.
I was really not intentional. I'm just that lame. I don't know. There has to be an eyeball component. Can't you just watch a guy and be like, that's gonna work? And especially when you look at the tier 2 you have in here, Shoop, he's great. Tariq Wilson, great. Chad Red, but Chad Red had like 12 losses last year.
So that is my next point.
I'm just feeding right into his. I'm just going right down these paths he's set for me.
Whether you like him or not, there's things I want to talk about. Regular season
Mike
losses.
Carr in tier 3.
Mm-hmm.
I actually agree with that.
You do?
Where do you want him higher or lower?
I don't know. It sort of jumps off the page at me. Like I feel like he has a win over a tier 1 guy.
He does. And I was very much last year. Yeah,
20.
No, I know.
20.
And last year when we did this, I was defending Mikey Carr very hard. I defended Mikey Carr's seed very hard for 2019 Big Ten championships, but in his 2 postseasons, I haven't seen it.
Also, his regular seasons aren't great either. Like, where's his big win?
Last year he was number 1 seed going into Big Ten.
I know. I think we hated that. Is that not one of the seeds we were like, this is wrong, or we didn't like that?
Are you talking Big Ten seed or NCAA seed?
Big Ten. I don't remember his NCAA seed. I remember us not liking a lot about Big Ten seeds, but particularly that one. But his big win, he beat Moran, Murin, McKee. So if they didn't have an M last name, he was in trouble. I don't know.
I feel like I don't know. I put Mikey Carr.
He did beat Chad.
He beat Red, right? I mean, these are all tier 2 guys. Talking about McKee, Red.
He beat Kanan Store.
Okay. Mikey
Another
Carr,
tier 2 guy.
I think he should be tier 2.
I was kind of with you, Nomad, but now the results, I think tier 2 is huge. I think tier 2 is huge, actually.
Okay.
Okay, right. That's what I was just gonna say. To me, these tiers, the composition of the weight is such that I think that the tier 1 and 2. I mean, the only thing I think you can say about tier 1 is like tier 1 guys that are you can safely say you feel really good about them AAing. Tier 2 contenders to AA. I just feel like that's what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
So with some of these guys, like Mitch McKee, super blue chip, coming out. Love watching him in freestyle. Took him 3 years to get on the level, and got pinned and majored by Nick Lee last year. So that's a guy I have trouble like pushing into tier 1. But then so he beat Chad Red twice, and Chad Red. This is another thing that I think is valuable. Looking at where they were ranked and looking at where they were seeded going into NCAA's, and I know we had the whole thing in the show where we ripped apart the seeds. Chad Red was 16 going into NCAA's.
Yeah.
And he was low seed the year before. Now, he's All-American twice, which reflects our opinion of what a blue chip is. But does his inconsistency in the regular season hurt his ability to jump into like a tier 1 conversation, because he might have to wrestle that guy in the quarterfinals instead of the finals?
I think that's a really good point. I think he's a tier 2 guy. I mean, I think he's right where he belongs. I think he can go with the Demas and a Nick Lee. I think there's a lot of these guys that are in the second tier that can jump up into that first tier potentially. I think there's a lot of talent. I mean, G. Well, let's talk about G a little bit.
Why is G? Yes. Why is G not?
Because
in tier 1.
He went 0-2 last year at NCAA's.
I'm with you, Nomad.
He's coming down in weight. He wasn't cutting as much weight last year.
Okay.
So is the weight going to be a thing this year?
That was at 149, right? He's beaten Nick Lee. Did he beat Nick Lee once or twice?
He beat Nick Lee when they were both
redshirting.
No,
sort of.
Nick Lee was redshirting, then they pulled him off redshirt. G redshirted that whole year. Pinned him in Southern Scuffle.
Great match. I'm cool with G at 2 because, one, I don't care that it was at 149. I think I never watched him at 149 and thought he was small, right? That's just an opinion. That's just like me watching.
Well,
right? That doesn't mean he wasn't.
I know he had a bad end to the season, but remember, G was on point all last year until that injury, right? Am I remembering that right? Didn't he have a fantastic start and then he got hurt and then everything was completely derailed? Like he
was
lost
undefeated
everything?
until Asher Kolodzik. He beat Verclaren, Fine Silver, Rolfing,
Yeah.
Tommy Thorne. So yeah, he did have a good, and then he lost to Kolodzik, Ashnall. They're awesome. Beat Thompson, crazy match. Did Thompson? Is that the one where Thompson completely blew it? Am I remembering correct? That was crazy.
He got taken down as regulation ended, then lost in overtime.
That's right. Lost to Lugo, lost to Mahler, kind of bad. I don't know. His wins are not. His big win is Fine Silver, right? Who I think we all think is really good. But other than the Fine Silver win,
which that was a debacle too. It was like a 18-minute match.
Yes. So then we're like, if you look at the second part of his season, it's a win over Thompson, then just lots of losses. He beat Deegan. I don't know. I mean, listen, Team G all the way. Love G. I think he can do it. I think he can win a title next year. I just don't know if he's like had the consistency to say he's a tier 1 guy. But I would say he's a title contender, so maybe he should be.
Another guy who I know you guys are in favor of big tier 2. A guy who I had to like talk myself into tier 2. A kid I really like, Kanan Storr.
Yeah, I almost think he could be tier 3.
Kanan Storr missed a whole postseason with the transfer. Was round of 16 last year. Now those losses were to Dom Demas and Chad Red. But he had beaten Dom Demas at CKLV, and he beat Chad Red at CKLV. Now the Chad Red one was wild. And
that was a crazy match.
And you could see where that is not necessarily a replicable win. But I was shocked when I went back and when I did a bracket analysis and I went back and watched the Demas Storr match. I was like, "There's no way Demas is beating Storr the way that he beat him, the way that he was getting to his shots." And he was 7th going into conference weekend. He's ranked 7th going into conference weekend, and ranked 6th going into NCAA's. And again, I know that those losses were against really good guys. He
beat Demas. I mean, that's
But so that's my thing about regular season wins versus NCAA wins.
Yeah.
Can Storr make that jump and beat those guys either at all at NCAA's or consistently knock them with the freaking fly?
The fly's back. It's on its glasses. If you let me. Hold on. Hold.
Don't smack him in the face.
I won't. Hold on. He's right under the brim. He's so smart. It's the smartest fly ever.
So
Guys,
I don't know. Should Kanan Storr be in tier 3? And then again, regular season wins. A guy who's in tier 3, who was round 12. Tristan Moran last year beat Josh Albert, Nick Lee, Mitch McKee, Mikey Carr during the year.
I feel like
Moran's crazy,
streaky. Yeah,
it's like he's so zany. His style is like maybe it gets refined a little bit this year. Also, 41 is never going to be easy for him.
Yeah. And so, and the other thing, so like last year at 149, right? Why was 149 interesting? Because Zayn was gone. We didn't know who was going to win. And it was guys who had never done the thing before, right? So Ashnall had never won his placing match, right? Highest he placed was 4th. Micah's highest place was like 4th or 5th. Those two guys met in the finals. Mm-hmm. And those are two guys that we identified at the beginning of the year, but it's still like, we've never seen these guys do it before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? And then, Fine Silver came in and Mahler came in and all these guys came in and started doing really well. But that's the thing with 141 this year. Nick Lee has been 5th and 5th. Dom Demas was 4th, completely outperformed all our expectations. Tariq Wilson was 3rd in 2018, then round of 12, coming up in weight. G was 0-2, even if he was hurt, coming down in weight.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch McKee, round of 12, 6th. Kyle Shoup was 1-4 combined at NCAA's before getting 7th last year, and also just having a really dominant year. Kyle Shoup, very anti-Sebby the Sloth.
That's messed up, dude.
Chad Red, I talked about as far as the inconsistencies during the regular season, then getting it done in the postseason. So it's just a whole bunch of guys who. Real Woods is a freshman. Grant Leith is coming down, And he placed the one time he had a full season, he placed, but he's coming down in weight. He's always hurt. So it's just a whole bunch of guys I have no idea what to do with. Yaya Thomas made the junior team, but he didn't even wrestle in the postseason last year. It's just a whole bunch of guys I don't know what to do with.
And here's the one thing we're not talking about. Iowa needs to get in the mix here. They need to get DeSanto in this mix.
So that's the other thing. DeSanto would be tier 1. I had that in my note. DeSanto would be tier 1 if he moved up.
Okay, interesting.
I believe that. I don't know.
I have no idea. I feel like DeSanto versus Nick Lee is a mess. Those are just two. They both are always in on the legs. I don't know what would happen there. I feel like I lean Nick Lee, but I don't really know. Dom Demas versus that's something out of control is happening in that match.
Wouldn't be a lot of mat wrestling.
Not a lot of mat wrestling. Probably lots of throw. Well, I don't know. I feel like Dom Demas would just like throw him on his back. I feel like they would wrestle the first time, and Dom Demas would just like toss him right away, and then like I feel like DeSanto would maybe figure it out a little bit, or it could be the opposite. I don't know. But DeSanto is such a unique style. I have no idea how
we need that matchup to happen.
We do.
DeSanto, Demas,
all day. Gosh. All day. So, this is a wide open way. I'll say it's wide open. Even though I do agree that Nick Lee and Dom Demas are probably the class and the most proven guys here. They're not so far ahead like 133 was last year or will be this year with Seth Gross or.
You know what? Too incredibly at this weight, you have this mass exodus of guys because of Olympics and graduation, and you're left with all these sort of unproven guys. Well, sort of unproven, basically a lot of parity, but you also don't have this great influx of guys coming off red shirts or what have you. There's no new faces.
Yep.
I mean, who's the best new face? Quinn Kinner? I mean, no offense to Quinn Kinner, but it's not like
real.
It's real. It's real.
Oh yeah, real. Okay, yeah. It's not, but it's not like you have this massive influx of new talent, right?
And Kinner, a guy who we all really like in folk style, but a guy who beat Kanan Storr at U23 is Cole Matthews. Very tough, right? That's going to be sneaking around. Now that match was a mess. If you go back and watch the end. But yeah, well,
I guess what I'm saying is, you don't have the Brayton, Sammy Sasso, Ja'Cory T. You don't have all these guys.
But that's another point I wanted to make. So very frequently when a guy places high as a freshman, right? Like pick Demas or something, right? It's like, oh man, this guy placed this as a freshman. He, in a year or two, he's gonna be national champ. But then what happens is Yanni comes in. Or this guy comes in, or this guy comes in, and then they're just kind of, 4th through 6th their whole career. This is one of those few years where exodus and no influx, and that's another reason why these 141 tiers are a freaking mess.
Get the cleaning crew.
Bring your brooms, because it's a mess.
Okay, 140, dude. I am here for 141, especially if we get DeSanto or Gavin in there. It'll be DeSanto if it's one of those two, I think. But yeah, that's wild stuff.
Chalice blog time?
Hey, Chalice dropped another blog. I don't.
No, he didn't. Did he?
He did.
Yeah.
Kyle,
also, update on Bono Schwab.
Yeah.
Jason Bryant said Schwab beat Bono, and Bono said, "You'll never beat me again," as the two were nose to nose.
It was tense. I think they almost got in a fight. Okay, we'll figure it out. I don't think they hate each other anymore. They might.
I hope they don't. They're both cool as heck.
You're telling me you don't want to see Schwab and Bono go nose to nose on February 20th?
The fact that they're wrestling each other probably means they don't hate each other, because normally that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I would want to wrestle more.
Okay, now I don't want to unpack. I know, but that's not how they do it. It's
just
weird. It's like we don't like those guys.
Like if I had a super rivalry with Christian and we were both coaches, I'd be like, I'm scheduling you every year. I'm gonna beat you 60-0 every year. I'm gonna rub your face in the dirt every freaking year.
They don't want to.
But that's
lose.
not how it works.
Yeah. All right. I do want to go Chalice time, Bracky.
Okay.
But let's just take the big point. The first thing you brought up to me. Because we cannot unpack the whole thing.
No.
That's not possible. Sorry, Willie.
I'll link you, Willie, so you can enjoy it yourself.
It's pretty, but yeah, just go, Bracky. It's Bracky time. This is our alien hour for the week.
If you don't know, Wade Chalice, I mean, old school legend, like pinning extraordinaire.
Legendary pinner, spoiler.
Yeah, but he does these. He's one of those wrestling cynics that everything is wrong with wrestling, and I'm gonna fix it, and this is how you do it, and they should put me in charge of everything, and every wrestling administrator in the world got it wrong, but I got it right, and this is how you do it. But he is audaciously wrong all the time, and his takes are crazy. So there's a setup, Kyle.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it, because that's what this article is about. He wrote a blog on the Final X matches between Dakin Dieringer and Yanni and Zayn, and essentially is really mad that there were no takedowns scored, and he blames UWW and the rules.
Yep, there you go.
He claims that the push-out rule is just sumo wrestling, and the shot clock is just another way for them to be able to decide matches themselves. And then one of my favorite points is, oh dang it, I lost it. Oh, so he said, now I wouldn't support such a rule, but if Kyle and Alex have been told before the matches that we change the rules, there's only going to be one bout, 10 minutes in length, and the first one to score 3 takedowns wins. And by the way, if no one gets 3 takedowns in that allotted time, then the outcome is simple. The United States doesn't send a representative to Kazakhstan at 79 kilograms.
There he goes.
He also,
he does this stuff.
In a tournament, if you don't score a takedown, and like let's say you win 2-1 on push-outs or just shot clock points, both of you don't move on. Like no one moves on.
So it's interesting. It's like he makes the point he's making is like not stupid. The fact that there are boring matches in wrestling, and it would be good if there weren't. We're agreed there. Now where it takes a hard right turn, where we're driving, we're trusting technology, and we are Michael Scott, and we are driving into the pond. It can't be what it means. It says turn right at the road, but we're going into the pond. Wait, that's a pond. Don't drive. We're in the pond. So we're in the pond when we say we're not going to send someone at 79. Now, he says he wouldn't support that rule.
Here's even crazier situation. There's no takedown of Dake and Derringer, and we shouldn't send somebody. Wait, did it dawn on you that they are 1 and 2 in the world? That crossed your mind?
He said that's hogwash. That one of those guys could have scored 10 points if they wanted to.
Okay.
I actually, and now here again, I'm kind of like part of me's Team Wade here, because
don't ever be put.
Every time Kyle Dake shoots, he basically scores. I do feel like I do not think Alex Dieringer probably could have scored 3 takedowns on. I don't think anyone in the world can get 3 takedowns on him.
I said I thought both guys could have been more active and offensive, and I think they could have scored and put up points. But Wade Chalice, you can't punish Dake and Derringer by not going to Worlds because you didn't like the match.
Here's what he said. For those who disagree with my assessment, I'm not going to spend time debating the notion that both athletes were so evenly matched that neither could score. Hogwash. Pure, unadulterated hogwash. They could have scored 10 points had the rules forced them.
Yeah, if takedowns are worth 7, sure.
I don't understand. Okay, so I thought about 2 things. He actually really made me think a lot, guys, because when we first went into this new era of cumulative scoring, 2 3-minute periods, it was like points were going up like crazy. And for all I know, they still are at the exact same rate. But what I do worry about in wrestling, as we've seen in folk style, is there a way, or is it possible that they could get this rule set that we all, I think, like could be gamed into a way that they become boring. Or like gamed in such a way that there is less entertainment value. I don't think we've necessarily seen that. I don't think we've seen that. But I do get paranoid like, well, wait, now could there be something to this that, but I don't think we've seen that. I just think Dake Derringer is a bad example.
I think
part
of it, as a whole, like internationally, I think the same day weigh-ins affecting people's activity level.
Oh, okay.
I think where guys were once more active because they had, 16 hours to.
That's a great point.
Rehydrate. They now don't have that.
Here's what I don't understand about that. Great point. Why are more people not just like falling off the map, dying? I guess Musakayev definitely did. That was an all-time meltdown of epic proportions. He was literally gassed weeks later when he had to wrestle Yanni again, to the point that he didn't wrestle him.
If, back when they said they were going to day of 2-day weigh-ins, I said you're going to see people gas like crazy, and you're going to see a lot of scratches on day 2. And we haven't really seen that.
Not at the world level. We have not. I mean, who at Worlds? And you know what? The foreigners do not take these other things all that seriously.
Very rarely.
Yeah, it's just like, man, I'm there. Let's go to Poland and I'll do a tournament. But like for Worlds, so I kind of throw out any gassing, even Musakayev's audacious gassing. But when you consider like at the World Championships, we haven't seen it, right? So I don't know. There's something to it.
Yeah.
Back
to Wade.
Back to Wade.
I mean, has anybody told them that this is the best, most exciting? This rule set is more conducive to entertaining matches that's in 20 years at least?
Well, not according to somebody who watched the Dake Derringer match in person, because he had quotes from people that were there.
He has quotes.
He has quotes? Does he have quotes from anybody at Zayn, Yanni?
Those matches were yawners, and people are happy with the rules as the spectator numbers flatline.
Spectator numbers flatlining where? We just had 1,500 people in Round Rock, Texas. But go on. Yeah. Good quote.
He also is convinced that UWW actually doesn't want the sport to grow, because that means if the sport continues to grow and gets really big, then new leaders will come in and they won't have any say or be in charge anymore.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's what I said. I'm like, listen, yeah. It really backfired for Dana White when he built up the UFC.
When George Steinbrenner had the Yankees, he basically said, let's not get really good, because if we get good, then somebody else is going to come in here.
Who would take – listen, think about it. You're in charge of the thing, okay?
Yeah, he's in charge of it.
I'm in charge. I made it great. And they would say – and the other people would be like, we need a change because he's made it so great.
That's why the CEO of Google tries to keep Google small. Don't want to have success, because then they'll get another CEO.
They'll fire me.
It says the UWW doesn't want the sport to become any more exciting or popular than it already isn't, because status quo keeps those who currently deciding it.
All right.
Also, why are we using a...
Why are they changing? Why is UWW changing so much if they have no interest in being better? They're like, every year they're putting in great improvements.
Yeah.
If that is their goal to keep it small, they're not doing a very good job. Right. Because wrestling has never been more popular from a spectator standpoint.
Increased media, always trying to actually make positive rule change. I don't know. The
there was a time when
is so incrementally good every year.
Yeah.
There was a time that UWW at the time, FILA, was either complacent, or the changes that they did make ticked you off so much that, we repeatedly discussed them, and I mean, we were pissed off at them. We said some not nice things about them. And then they started this turn, and we're like, all right, well, I guess we got to give them credit. We got to give them credit. And then they made another good one. Well, all right, they're doing things maybe all right. Let's see how long this lasts. And then they made another one. I mean, they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
So give them credit.
Also, getting back to the point where he actually made you think about, rule set.
Yeah.
it is similar to doping, where the cheaters are always ahead of the chasers. The rule set, the coaches and wrestlers will always be smarter than the people making the rules.
Yeah.
Because they live in the room, and so they will read the rule book or watch film and go, okay, this is how this is being scored. Okay, this is how we're going to take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. And in general, but part of the reason why I prefer freestyle to folk style is because I think most of the time that it favors offensive wrestler over defensive wrestlers. Obviously, there are caveats usually when Kyle Dake is involved. But it is easier, in my opinion, to teach and be good defensively than offensively because so many more things have to go right offensively. And so when you're talking about gaming rules and trying to win, most of the time, if you're trying to win and you think the guy's better than you, you're trying to make a low-scoring match, right? Yeah. Trying to win 4-3.
For sure.
So that's the way rules will naturally go. Freaking fly, I'm going to kill.
This fly is so brazen. It's on your hand. You can do it.
It's literally on my hand?
Yeah, it was on your... Oh, man. Oh, he almost grabbed it. He just missed it.
But anyway...
Chill out, Miyagi.
Anyway, any rule set in wrestling, as people will try to figure out to beat the guys who are up here, the ones down here will generally always go the way of defense in the way of gaming rules.
I don't know. Listen, the bottom line to me is Wade Chalice always has these audacious takes, and
I'm here for it.
I'm looking around, and I mean, he wants to take a look at Dake and Derringer and say UWW. I mean, this is Area 51 type crap. I can't believe we're talking about.
That's why it's an alien hour.
That's why it's an alien hour.
Right? I mean, listen, Wade Chalice is like a legend of wrestling, but so I guess that's what makes it interesting. But if Wade Chalice wants to say that the UWW, it starts at the top, and UWW is having this rule set to maintain they don't want wrestling to grow. I'm looking around at 75-80% of the matches are highly entertaining. I mean,
yeah, he needs to watch more.
Maybe
freestyle rules.
More,
we don't need to talk about.
So it finished.
Here we go.
He had 3 sections of the article, and one was Dake versus Derringer, Derringer misspelled, and then Yanni versus Rutherford, Rutherford. So he misspelled both names there. And then sometimes he spells Zayn's first name right, and sometimes he spells it wrong. But he was pretty short and to the point there. He was still disappointed, no takedown, thought it was more exciting. He says the current freestyle rules have severely reduced scrambling opportunities.
That's a lie.
Right. And then the third section of the article is on hearing loss. So...
We'll tackle hearing loss later.
Come again. We open up that can
for a moment. Are any of you having trouble with your hearing? And then he talks about how he can't hear anymore.
We gotta stop. I can't talk about Wade's hearing loss.
I suppose that's why we get these in article form and not in podcast form. What? Good God, let's move on.
We gotta go.
No way. We just hit the jack. We just hit the jackpot. Right. Wait, he wants to talk to the referees?
Yes. Okay, here's why.
So he
I'm
thinks
wearing
the
hearing
referees
aids
do
now,
a
which
bad
might be
job
normal
because
for
they
someone
lost.
on my age, but my hearing began to go south after my first year of officiating, and that was when I was in my 40s, and I've struggled with tinnitus since that time as well, and the ringing drives me crazy. To my point, with the way Fox 40 whistles and others advertise their products without any consumer warnings, I was just wondering if I'm alone here.
So the whistles that refs use are too loud?
So, my God, this is a setup. He's trying to sue the whistle company.
Dang. He might have a case, Willie.
I don't think he does.
Okay. That was, man.
You can write Wade Chalice at wchalice@cfl.rr.com.
Flood his inbox, listeners.
With whistle sounds. Just audio whistle.
That's mean. Don't be mean. Okay. We had some good questions. It's funny, the Zayn spelling coming up again because Mr. One Direction here. Kyle, can you find this tweet? I think One Direction's #1 fan This person did a great Photoshop. So apparently in One Direction, there is a guy named Zayn, spelled Z-A-Y-N.
Although
Okay.
I think he was the one that left.
And you knew that. And yeah,
Oh my God, he knows.
He knows so
Oh
many
my
intimate
God, I'm
details
sorry
about One
that-
Direction. You are their number one fan. So
Yeah.
someone, in true FRL fashion, this is why we love you. You just make hilarious Twitter accounts that I laugh every time you make one of these. They're almost always Nomad related. It's apology pillow, this and that. One of them is Nomad's congressional testimony. That's a new one too that we got from yesterday's show.
That was like at the very end of the show too, so you listened all the way through. Good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
I
deep
said,
cut.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, anyways, check that one out. But let's go to these questions because you guys asked a
The
lot of good
handle
ones.
for the One Direction number one fan is at 1D fan nomad.
And then it says, the location is wherever 1D is, and the bio is not sure who I love more, Zayn or Zayn. Def not Zayn. No, all spelled differently. That's funnier if you're reading it, I guess. Okay.
Shots fired at the way Zayn Richards spelled his name.
Yeah, which I think is probably the original Zayn spelling. If we had to go back to the. Okay. Next question. There seems to be a large amount. This is almost contentious related from Zia or Chalice related. What, Willie?
Can somebody, you know how I forget, like 5 minutes after a show, I forget exactly what we talked about. What is this Congress? Refresh me what the Congress was?
I made some reference to Nomad having to testify in front of Congress like Zuckerberg.
So I said at the end of the show, I threatened everyone because we did FRL and Who's Number One back to back. And I said, if you don't listen, I'm gonna go to your house. I'm gonna beat you up.
That's
CP
right.
was like, CP was like, how do you know this? And I'm like, well, let's not get into that. Don't tell Congress. And then CP said, could you imagine me testifying in front of Congress?
Yeah. So
That's exactly how it happened.
And also, Nomad has to beat a lot of people up apparently.
Yeah,
not watching
guys,
this.
come on, watch Who's Number.
Apparently,
watch Who's
people
Number
don't
One.
find you physically intimidating.
I don't think that's what it was.
Oh, okay. There seems to be a large amount of contentious scoring in freestyle. Is there ways it could be remedied or minimized, or is it just the nature of the style? There is a lot of contentious scoring in freestyle. I feel like I don't know how they can fix it. I don't know how you fix the two Yanni Zayn exchanges that we've seen. I like the idea of the leg attacker getting things when they expose. I don't think the rules are clearly written. I think there's an unwritten interpretation that everyone's agreed to in general, but it's not written down. Like you can't point to I don't think you can point to a thing in here, and maybe that it's impossible to put it to codify some of this stuff. So I don't know how to fix it. I don't know that it's a major problem either. Although, large amounts of debate and discussion have been over these two guys wrestling two somewhat contentious matches. So I don't know.
I wanted to go over this yesterday because 3 points. First of all, World Championships around the corner. Be prepared for refs from different continents to call things differently, right? Because very often at these large events, there's an officials clinic, and they're like, okay, this is how we're calling this, and they do it before USA Wrestling events too, and so that they try to at least provide uniformity to each event. Then at the World Championships, you bring in all these different officials, and they will still try to provide uniformity, but it's not going to happen. So that's the first thing.
Semi-convention before that, right? They have before every World Championships, they have an officials meeting. And they go over certain situations to make clear we should call it this way, to enforce certain things, whether it be hands to the face or whatever, make keep an eye on this. So they try to give uniformity. I think freestyle wrestling by nature, there's a lot of subjective things. There's a lot of 50-50 things. On yesterday's show, the four of us who have watched wrestling for all our lives disagreed with a certain thing. Mm-hmm. There's a little subjectivity to it. I mean, you could make a case. I don't want to open up this can of worms again, but you can make a case that Yanni sort of games it a little bit, when he feels something, then he tries to maybe hop over it and make it to. I would say this: if you're a wrestler, I think, and a coach, you have to go into freestyle saying there's going to be situations that are subjective. We're gonna score some points. We're gonna give up some points. There's gonna be things that are scored maybe that we're not in love with, but the best thing you can do is score cleanly. Easier said than done, I know, but stay out of those crazy situations, right?
The one thing I think they could do that would help them is they need to be more liberal with point distribution, right? I think if you're exposing, I think points should be going up. I don't want to say in general because there's gut wrenches, there's things like that. But if it's close that Yanni could have scored. It's close that Zayn and Yanni could have both scored. Then just throw them up easier than the one or the other. I think they could get more liberal with it.
So that's another thing. That's what I wanted to bring up. When there was the crackdown situation where the official offered 2 and it got white paddled, and I think a lot of people were like, but for all the crap we give officials, to that point, there's also sometimes where because there's 3-man mechanics, the official can do things to be like, hey, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily that he's saying this is 100% clear takedown, because obviously it was a bang-bang situation. But that is the beauty of 3-man mechanics in that you can offer things up, and they, judge and check be like, nah, man,
white paddle, didn't happen. Good point.
But yeah, to Christian's earlier point, the rules are hard. It's kind of hard because again they're translated from French, and then they have to be sent to all these different
transliterated.
Yes, I did say that one time. I'm so glad I said that because I know you guys remember that. And it's a body movement sport, right? So like to Willie's point yesterday, like every situation.
Boy.
No, just every situation is different, right? And so it's hard to litigate. It's hard to litigate. It's hard to litigate when all the situations are different.
It's not darts. It's not archery.
And then last thing for me, and maybe I'm just in the minority for this, I like that there are this many things to argue about. I like that there's a level of subjectivity. I think that makes it so much more interesting and engaging.
I don't.
I like to know the rules.
I like knowing the rules. I like to know that it can be explained. I want to be able to point to the book, section 8-1. Okay, Yanni doesn't score here because of this reason. Zayn scores here because of this reason. That's what I want to know.
And
I mean, in a perfect world, I want that. But I also know that the reality is that there's going to be, we're going to go to World Championships and we're going to be in a scramble with Uzbekistan, or we're going to be in a scramble with Japan, and things are going to get dicey.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in a certain vein, the ultimate goal should probably be to score cleanly.
Yeah.
Don't leave it up to
Well, yeah.
No, I mean, but that's a very simple way to sum it up. Like, if you don't want to have to go to review, right, don't bobble the ball in the end zone, right? Just catch it. If you don't want to go to review, right, don't have your foot on the line of the 3-point. Like, that applies to all sports.
And I would say in that exchange, neither guy scored cleanly, right? And that's what makes it so difficult. All right, let's move on because there's a lot of good questions. Who would win, Zayn versus Yanni, sophomore years of college? I'm assuming he means folk style, and I think this is Zayn.
Yeah, I assume he also means redshirt sophomore.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I think in folk style is Zayn's best style, and freestyle is Yanni's best style, and I will say Zayn, and probably comfortably.
Yeah.
Right.
Zayn's also bigger. He's better on top. Yeah.
I mean, you just look at the tight. I mean, you think super tight match with McKenna, match with Ironman, has lost to Ironman, has had a lot of close. Yeah, I think it's in folk style.
I mean, Zayn's
sophomore year, he was like the best wrestler that year.
Zayn's freshman year, he beat Logan.
Yeah. Zayn is, easily top 10. He's arguments like towards closer to 1 than 10.
How many guys had their last 3 years 3 consecutive undefeated seasons.
With that level of dominance. He had
just period. Undefeated. 3 undefeated seasons.
Yeah, sure.
Kale? I mean, Dake didn't. Logan didn't, right?
Yep.
I don't know about Pat Smith. Uteki
A lot of guys who were 3-time champs lost as either sophomores or juniors.
Yeah. Dan Gable did not.
Yeah.
Win 3 kids. I mean, is it just Uteki, Kale, and Zayn? Is there one more 3-time champ that closed them out?
There are a couple. I would need to look them up. But
it's 5 or less.
Yeah, and even so, it was a different era, right, where you basically automatically assume that, in general, wrestlers now are better. Like, the level of competition is higher that Zayn's facing than those guys were facing.
Zayn's one of the, 6 or so-ish best ever.
Yeah.
And he beat – and what gives it weight is he beat Logan as a true freshman.
Right.
So it's like you can't even just say, the weights were this, were that. Because, no, you look back at his brackets and there aren't a ton of legends in there. But – he beat a 4-timer.
And also, how much of that is he made them not look like legends.
Right.
And guys may have gone up or down that we were unaware of that could have gone 49, but we're like, I don't want those problems.
No one wanted those Zayn problems.
I believe when Zayn beat Logan, Logan had won the Hodge the year before.
No.
But I'm not certain on that. No?
No.
Logan only won the Hodge his senior year.
Okay.
That year, that was not even Logan's senior year. That was Logan's junior year. That was coming off his sophomore year where he beat Tony in the...
Okay.
Yeah, and then Logan was undefeated as a senior. That was the port season. So, Zayn is the answer to that.
Next topic.
Zayn, next topic. Okay, next question. More likely 4-timer. I feel like we've talked about this. Yanni or Spencer? Who's more likely to win 4?
I don't know. I'm going to say Spencer because while we talked ad nauseum last year about whatever was going on during the regular season, 2 NCAA tournaments, he's done nothing but beat the crap out of people. Yanni's 2 NCAA tournaments, he has won them all. His first year, he had to win them all in the final 30 seconds, or the last 3. Yeah. The McKenna match was super contentious, right? That could have very easily gone the other way.
Am I
Spencer.
crazy? Am I crazy to think that's the next 2 years, just Spencer, done deal? I mean, that's the way I feel.
We thought that last year.
We thought that last year. I don't know, man. Maybe there was something with him the whole year.
But
I don't know.
I mean, my thing is, he had some struggles. I mean, and when we say struggles, I mean, guys that take a loss here and there, I don't know if that's struggle. With Spencer's expectations, losing 2 or 3 matches a year is struggling. But we saw him go through some trials and tribulations, and at the end, he mollywopped everybody. I mean, I'm just sort of, I don't know. I just think Spencer, if he could do it last year when he was going through some stuff, I just feel like next topic.
Yeah, maybe so. I'll say Spencer, even though there's 2 guys left that have beaten him literally.
Yeah.
Nick could come down. I don't know.
That changes things. I mean, national champ versus national champ.
I'd take Spencer against Nick.
I mean, it has happened, and he won. But, I don't know. Okay. Next topic, next question. Does Spencer Lee we'll just kind of feed right into it. Does Spencer Lee have a realistic chance at 57 without taking the Olympic red shirt? Absolutely. Absolutely does.
So when I was doing, and it's always constantly updating, but I have this running list of Olympic red shirts, right? And I've been reaching out to all these coaches, and it's really interesting to hear all of their different takes on whether they think it's valuable or not for guys to take an Olympic red shirt, right? Mm-hmm. So one coach is like, I think, for me and my guys to go through that grind of a college season, to stay in shape, to stay on weight, and to constantly be going, that was best for me. I think that's what's best for my guys. Whereas other coaches are like, no, we want them going overseas. We want them doing all this stuff. We want them kind of their competition spaced out so they have time to practice and get better. And Spencer himself said, when he was talking to Ben Askren, that he's not really a fan of the Olympic red shirt, that he thinks it would be better for him to stay active and compete. Now, obviously, he's still going to have to do some freestyle because he has to qualify.
We just have so much. We've just seen so many times guys go from NCAAs into the thing, and they're fine. If he'll beat Dayton if he's better. It won't be something where he hasn't focused on freestyle enough or something along those lines, or Dayton will have had more. If he's better than Dayton, he'll beat him. And if he's not, he won't. And I don't think him taking the Olympic red shirt is the difference. And I think he is good enough to beat Dayton. I think if Dayton medals and gets to sit out and Spencer doesn't get... Spencer's going to have to go through the bracket regardless. Only people that sit out are returning world medalists in Olympic year. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah. And then you have, of course, the specter of if Dayton doesn't qualify,
then they're all in
then who... Well, who, right? They're all in the bracket, but then also who goes to Pan Ams, and how does that play in? You know, if Dayton has to go to Pan Ams, then weigh in 2 weeks later, does that play in at all? So,
Dayton don't care. He'll go.
Oh, I know he don't care.
Yeah. But I'm saying they'll send Dayton. I don't
Yeah.
think Dayton will be like, I don't want to do the weigh-in. Maybe he will. I don't know. Okay. Willie, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons. I think we've seen several times some evidence that going through the college season really, I think it helps your conditioning. I think it helps you be pretty on top of your game. However, the quick turnaround this year, this turnaround is quicker than ever. Right? This is quicker than ever before.
True. Yep.
This is Olympic trials 2 weeks after NCAAs. And you're talking about the finer points of freestyle. You're talking about can you get a match-winning gut? Can you get a match-winning lace? Can you get a match-winning short time, 15 seconds to go push out? There are finer nuances of freestyle that I don't know if you're going to be able to overcome. I don't know you're going to be optimized for the Olympic trials, which come around every 4 years. I don't know if you're going to be freestyle optimized when you're practicing riding somebody out, when you're practicing stand-ups 2 weeks earlier.
They might not.
Look at how much
Kyle Snyder didn't. Kyle Snyder was not doing top and bottom wrestling. I know it's different. It's heavyweight.
He never does top and bottom wrestling.
I think with Spencer, I think you got the chop and the tilt thing down. I don't think you have to practice it. You just do it. I think he could have very specific freestyle training during when you have your college practice, or just neutral stuff, and it would be fine. There's a way to meld these two, and I think we've seen the guys have the freestyle sophistication when they go from NCAA to there's just so much data that it's fine. And I get it's 2 weeks, but 2 weeks, 4 weeks from the open, it's always been fine.
And again, it depends on the guy, right? Spencer's mindset is I don't need to take it, right? Some of these guys, like Isaiah Martinez did that interview with Bader where he said that not being in college really helped him. So it depends on the guy. It depends on their mindset and how they go about attacking their plan in their season. Mm-hmm. And for Spencer, he has made it pretty clear it doesn't matter. He thinks he's going to win. And so, like Christian said, it's not going to be a matter of him having to go through the season. It's whether or not he's better, whether or not he prepares correctly.
If the crews from FloWrestling and Flow Football were to get into a street fight, who would win? And which side would Kyle Brackey fight for? I already know the answer to this.
Well,
he'd betray us.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to let you guys just beat the crap out of Colby.
Then we're just going to beat the crap out of you. There's too many of us.
Because it's just Colby.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That I don't think Ben Randolph knew that it was just Colby.
Listen,
Bracky's not there.
Then you're both getting bully beat down.
I'm not worried about like you and Nomad.
Okay. Listen, this is not the FRL squad is not the A team of enforcement. I'm talking about Mike Mal. I'm talking about Bader.
I'm talking about LJ. I'm talking about Travis.
Spay's gonna.
Do Travis and LJ count?
Yeah, they sure as hell do.
I didn't know we got them.
I don't know if they do.
Who produces Flow Football? You guys are screwed.
Let me ask you this. When you get in a street fight, do you call half your crew or you call the whole crew?
Call the whole squad.
You leave anybody's name unrung?
Blakeman did a football event last year. We get Blakeman.
Dang it.
Bring him.
I'm gonna tell you, we should
Blakeman
have a
could
fight
swing
like
this.
like on
Anchorman.
Anchorman with the different crews.
Nomad will have a trident at some point. Nomad will
Yeah,
have
this is a street fight too. I'm pulling things out.
No, man.
touching
How
of the
many
hair
tridents
face,
do you?
Obviously.
How many tridents do you have?
Well, I kind of want to get one. I watched Aquaman the other day, and they seem pretty proficient at throwing them.
All right.
That's a weird
Nomad's
movie.
trident. There's the next Twitter. handle.
Nomad's trident.
It's also weird because I've been rewatching Entourage, and like that was like one of the fictional movies, but Hollywood ran out of ideas, so they actually had to make Aquaman.
Do you think the
I
team
thought it was all right.
Aquaman?
It's fine.
I don't watch movie.
I don't like
comic.
movies like that.
I got the Dish Net, or no, I got the DirecTV a couple weeks ago, and like
DirecTV.
I was never one of those kids. Like when I was a kid, I thought like people that had HBO and Cinemax, like they were like rich people. And,
At that time, it
so
was kind of true.
I never really like was into that and stuff. But I got DirecTV and there was like movie channels on. I was like, I'm gonna take full advantage of this. And I watched Aquaman when I was super bored.
Almost got the fly. Do you think the team championship will be between USA and Russia again? If not, which two teams could sneak into the top two? I guess Azerbaijan maybe, but probably not.
It's Russia, and the best thing about going to 10 weights, and especially in pre-Olympic years where there's qualifying, is very few other countries have the depth nor care to try to show the depth.
Mm-hmm. And our depth is deep.
Right, meaning we care probably more about 61 and 70 and 79, 92 than any other country, maybe even including Russia. But by that I mean there will be countries that they could win 4 golds at those weight and qualify no weights to the Olympics, and they would say this World Championships was a failure.
I feel like this year, I could be off on this, but I feel like this year it's going to be Russia by a decent-sized margin over the United States. The United States, a decent-sized margin between the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
I dare to dream, but you could be right. I haven't run the numbers yet.
Spey has a theory with his mustache.
Oh, yeah. So the
mustache?
Dagestanis, they go beard, no mustache.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going mustache, no beard.
To counteract the evil Russians.
We should tell Bill Zadek, like, hey, Bill, I don't know if you've considered this, but...
And he said if we win the team title next year, we all have to have mustaches for Worlds. If we get second, only half of us do. And if we get third, only Spey.
Only Spey. Got it.
Also, just because this is the last time that I'm going to be on FRL before the World Championships, so I'm going to take a second and talk about it real quick. Yeah, I'm leaving on Monday, dog. Well, I don't know. Willie... I'll be with Willie on Monday, so we're gonna double the mic action.
Love
I thought
it.
you didn't leave until September 11th.
I for Kazakhstan. I leave for Allentown on the 9th, and then me and Willie will be there together on the 10th, and then we will go drive up to New York, or probably bus up, actually.
We fly out at 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
On the 11th.
So we got to bus up New York right after the show.
Classic bus.
Anyway, so last year, Russia was first, USA was second. Georgia was third. Georgia, I don't think, can field together a full 10. Cuba and Japan were tied for fourth. Cuba's not, they're not even going to send a full 10. Japan, obviously, upper weights. Iran is going to stink this year very badly.
I know.
They're always hurt.
Yeah. And then,
Stop hurting your wrestlers, Iran.
Yeah. And then
But where's the
Azerbaijan, we
depth,
thought they were
too?
going to be they were the one team last year that might have been able to sneak in, and they got 9th.
I feel like
So I'm predicting more like a 5th for them. Correction.
I feel like Iran needs like an American coach to go over there and be like, no. You don't do this every day. You can't train like this, guys. It doesn't work. That's why Reza is hurt. You have wasted Iran. You have wasted Reza Yazdani. The guy's been hurt basically since 2016. He's been, or 15. He's been off and on hurt.
You wasted a whole bunch of guys too. Where just look at
Godarzi.
Go back and look at cadet and junior world medalists for the past, I don't know, 10 years, and look at they get maybe one shot at Worlds, maybe two, and then they have this cockamamie process where they'll just be like, yeah, you didn't get it done last year. Meanwhile, that guy could be the best guy, and maybe with some development they could develop into a world medalist, and then they stick some 19-year-old in who's not ready, then they run him into the ground, and then they're all of a sudden, 2 years on, they're on their fourth or fifth string guy, and they have no depth. Everyone hates it. Everyone's hurt. It's absurd.
And it also breeds. I don't think that plan number one is conducive for all the reasons you just said. I don't think it's conducive to their development. I don't think it's conducive to the best product on the mat. And number two, it's very obviously sowed discontent. They're all just infighting there, from what I understand.
Yeah. Go read Brock Kite's article too about junior world medalists to senior world medalists.
Up on the site right now.
Yeah. It's not a super high number. Now, part of that's because, it's like NCAA and world team members, right, where you only have 4 years NCAA. You only have 3 years at junior level and then infinite years at senior level. So that, of course, plays in. But they have all these guys, and they're not getting it done. Meanwhile, Russia is twice as effective as literally every other country at making their junior world medalists senior world medalists. It's not hard to understand why Russia's best. And that's with guys leaving left and right. Russia's depth is impacted by guys leaving. Musakayev, all these guys.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, it's probably about time to go.
Yep.
But
there's a new Twitter account.
Oh, give it to me.
Wade Chalice's hot takes.
Oh boy.
Dang it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a fire account. Now, hey, this is interesting. Do you want to work at Flow Sports, specifically FloWrestling, specifically on the FloWrestling content team? Do you want to be in meetings where we talk about entire quarters and we say things like Q4 and engagement, and we sound very like we're a big industry? That could be you. Just today, we have posted a job. We are hiring. Okay? Now, it's not going to be easy. I'm a very, very... To get hired here, it's a very, very strict screening process. So it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to be good. We're going to sniff you out 7 different ways. So if there's a shredded doubt in your mind that you may not be the person, you're already not the person.
Come with a sack of cash.
Absolutely. We do take
Not going to hurt.
We
not
do take
gonna
pride.
hurt.
It will get you on the short list. It will not get you hired, but it will get you on the short. It will get you an interview with me, maybe over Skype.
First thing,
we
Christian,
could fly you in, maybe.
Christian already got 7 emails that say, "Interested in the job. Do I have to live in Austin?"
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
Yes.
you ain't on that Willie level, dog. So yeah, you're coming to move to Austin. I'm sorry. You have to live in an awesome city in Texas. I'm sorry.
Probably the best city in America.
Probably the best city in America. You're gonna have to live in it. You're gonna have to work with a bunch of people that love wrestling a lot. And this is gonna be tough too. You're gonna have to go to the best events. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Here's the downside is that you get your flight and hotel paid for to go to every best wrestling event and sit in one of the best seats in the house.
It's brutal. It is a tough life, guys. It's a tough life. No, it is awesome. I can't believe every day. I can't believe I get to do this. And that is true today and was true yesterday and will be true forever until I get fired. So please apply. We're looking, I don't know what we're looking for, but I have an idea of what kind of person I'd like to hire. We need someone that can relieve Nomad and Spay of the burden of tremendous writing duty, which is thrust upon them because we need people to write D1 previews. So you got to know D1 like crazy, and you got to be able to write about it. You need to be able to spell.
We need a stallion. And
he keeps saying this. I don't know what that means.
It's from Silicon Valley.
He will not stop saying stallion.
It's from Silicon Valley.
We do not need a quarter horse. We do not need a Clydesdale.
But very simply, folks, you have to remember, FloWrestling is still a small team.
Yes.
With big, big goals and aspirations. and you have to be cutthroat. Not to us and not to the wrestling community, but like you have to be an absolute killer because that's what we're going to expect out of you. And also, you're going to get ripped on a lot because we all
like a minotaur. We need a minotaur.
Yeah, exactly. We need a minotaur. I need a stallion that has a thinking man's brain.
Thinking man's brain with the endurance of a stallion and the bravery. What do they need the bravery of? An egret.
Yeah, there you go.
So Wade Chalice is applying.
Shoot.
Wade Chalice's hot takes.
Yeah.
We can't spell.
I don't think he's really or here.
But for real, we're gonna find the best person, and they're going to continue to do the things.
We're gonna hire someone awesome. Whoever we hire is gonna
wrestling.
be awesome because there's gonna be a lot of good applicants. Because this is like, other than like coaching. So I was talking. It's my turn to name drop Willie.
Yeah.
Rob Cole. Talked to him. He coaches Cornell. Not a big deal. He actually listened to the show. I didn't know that he did.
Ever heard of it?
I don't think he normally does. He went to Cornell. Ever heard of it? Actually, he didn't go there. He just coaches there. And he's like, you guys were talking about the best job. He's like, man, I got the best job. Are you kidding me? It's like, I have to play in a golf outing. I come here. This is great. He's like, we got the best job. And I agree. If I had been a good wrestler, there would be nothing cooler than being a wrestling coach. That would be awesome. But I'm not. You get to work out. You get to like help guys. It's all a great thing. But I don't have those qualifications.
Get to pull
Rob.
Gabe Dean off.
I didn't win NCAAs. Yeah, you get to sub in for Gabe Dean, drilling with Kyle Dake.
Kyle Dake's you're not getting the look you won.
Gabe. Step aside here. Let me show you how to do it. But no. So yeah, if I couldn't do that, you get to do this. This is a long way of saying apply. We need someone for the upcoming season, but if you think for a second I will rush this decision so that we can get someone by October or November, you are sorely mistaken. If this takes a year, it'll take a year to find the right person. But I don't think it will.
I don't think it'll take a year. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. That would be bad.
I don't think we should take a year. I'm going to be honest.
I'm trying to scare him.
Yeah. 2 years.
2 years, see? That's what I'm talking about.
Post-Olympics.
Post-Olympics. Post-2022 Olympics for the Winter Games.
We will never fill this job.
We will never fill this job.
Dare us.
Dare us. Yeah, we will just leave it posted forever. And then we will split the salary among us and throw extravagant pizza parties. All right. Caleb has been hovering over the button for probably 10 minutes now. There he goes. He was ready. He's like, are they ever going to stop? Caleb's applying probably. Caleb's going to try to transfer within the department.
Watch Beach this weekend. Spay and Mike will be there. It'll be your little taste of wrestling before Worlds and before we get into Journeyman, Who's Number One, Super 32, and all that good stuff.
Definitely do that. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you to those of you that will apply. If you're not hired, it's not because you're not awesome. There's just going to be a lot of people. We're excited. We're excited to fill it. Add to the team. We only hire all-stars here. Look around. So,
go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. Not really. Go Redskins, go.
Ravens are gonna smoke the Dolphins. Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock
of the century of the week. Thanks, guys. We'll see you Tuesday. Maybe we do a Monday special edition. When do you leave?
Well, I leave at 5 p.m. on Monday, but I just figured we'd do it normal time when I'm in the PS2 mics.
Perfect. Whatever. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next time.